Welcome to Starbound Valor HFY. Subscribe now and dive into daily epic sci-fi adventures where humanity always rises. For centuries, the Kongo jungle lived in deep silence, a silence so old that even the oldest tribes said the forest was watching, breathing, and remembering things no human could understand. And this silence was never broken, not by storms, not by hunters, not by explorers. It was a silence that felt alive, a silence that protected something hidden under the giant trees. Dr. Amara Lavoie, a calm and sharp earth scientist, knew the jungle held mysteries, but she never expected what happened on that strange morning when the world changed forever. Satellites over Africa detected a sudden heat spike deep inside the jungle. A heat so powerful it looked like a small engine buried under the earth had suddenly turned on after sleeping for thousands of years. At first, Earth Command thought it was a volcanic pocket warming, but the shape of the heat signature was perfect, too perfect, triangular, smooth, and clearly artificial. They could not deny it. Something was down there, and it had woken up. Amara and her small research team arrived in the Congo within hours, carrying scanners, cameras, and survival gear, but as soon as they stepped out of the aircraft, an unnatural chill hit them, even though the air was hot and humid. The jungle felt wrong. Birds were missing. The usual buzzing of insects was gone. The wind did not move the leaves. The team walked into the forest slowly, listening carefully, speaking only when needed. Every step echoed like they were walking through a giant, empty hall. Amara noticed strange triangular symbols carved into old trees, symbols that glowed faint blue when touched by sunlight. No human tribe had ever drawn these. The symbols looked clean, sharp, and perfect, as if machines had carved them. As they moved deeper, the ground felt warmer. Amara knelt down and pressed her hand to the soil. She felt vibration, like heavy machines moving far below. Her heart beat faster. Nothing natural moved like that under the ground. For a moment she felt someone was watching from between the trees, but when she turned, she saw nothing except darkness between the thick vines. The silence grew heavier. One of her team members, Malik, whispered that he heard metal clinking in the distance. Another said he saw a quick flash of silver. Amara forced everyone to stay calm and focused, but inside she felt the same fear growing. The jungle did not feel empty. It felt crowded, like unseen eyes followed every movement. Soon they reached a large clearing where the ground had cracked open recently. The soil looked pushed outward from below, like something had risen or tried to rise. The heat signature was strongest here. Amara scanned the ground. The scanner beeped loud and fast. Whatever was under them was huge, metallic, and old, older than any Earth machine. Suddenly the ground beneath her boots trembled. The tremble became shaking. Birds burst from the trees in panic. The air filled with the smell of hot metal. Then a thin line appeared in the center of the clearing, like the ground itself was splitting. The line widened with a deep grinding noise. Dirt and dust exploded upward. Amara stepped back as the ground opened like a giant mechanical mouth. Inside the opening, they saw something glowing, something made of metal, something not human. A smooth silver object slowly rose out of the earth, floating on its own, humming with energy. It was shaped like a small pyramid with rounded edges, covered in glowing blue symbols. It hovered above the cracked ground, spinning gently. The forest stayed silent. No wind. No animals. Only the soft hum of this alien machine waking up after centuries. Malik tried to speak, but only air escaped his mouth. The team watched in fear and wonder as the device stopped spinning, turned toward them like it had eyes, and scanned the humans with a thin blue beam. Amara wanted to run, but her feet refused to move. The beam moved up and down her body, and the alien machine made a quick clicking sound, like it was analyzing something. Then the machine projected a brief hologram, only for a second. But in that second Amara saw thousands of stars, strange alien structures, and a giant symbol marked over Earth. The hologram vanished instantly, leaving the team frozen in shock. The pyramid-like drone suddenly spoke, its voice distorted and metallic, like many broken radios speaking together. The voice said one simple sentence that made the team's blood run cold: "You were not supposed to be here." Before anyone could react, the ground behind them shook violently. Trees fell. Birds screamed. The sound of giant mechanisms echoed under the earth. Amara looked around and realized the jungle was not waking up, it was being activated. Something massive was buried beneath them, something ancient, something mechanical, something intentionally hidden. And the alien drone had not woken alone. The shaking grew louder. The ground pulsed with blue light. The drone floated higher, scanning the jungle like it was searching for other machines. Amara shouted for the team to fall back, but before they could escape, the forest ahead of them exploded upward as a huge metal structure pushed from below, tearing through roots and soil as if the earth was only thin paper. The air filled with dust and energy. Amara stared at the rising structure, her heart pounding. For centuries, the Kongo jungle had been silent. Now she understood why. The silence was hiding something alive, something powerful, something not made for human eyes. And now, after centuries of sleep, the secret had awakened, and it was watching them. The alien drone hovered in the air like a glowing silver eye, its blue light scanning every tree, every rock, every human, and the jungle around Amara felt tighter, like the forest itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to happen. Malik took one step forward, and the drone reacted instantly, turning toward him with sharp speed that made everyone freeze. Then, in a strange mechanical voice that sounded both broken and ancient, it repeated the same warning, "You were not supposed to be here." The words echoed through the clearing, bouncing off silent trees. Amara tried to speak calmly, trying to control her fear, asking the drone who built it, what it was guarding, and why it was waking up now, but the drone did not answer. Instead it slowly rotated, its symbols glowing brighter, and the air grew warmer. Suddenly the ground under their feet pulsed like a heartbeat, sending shock waves through the soil. Amara felt the vibration through her boots and realized the machine was communicating with something much bigger underground. The earth rumbled again, louder this time, making dust fall from the leaves. Malik's scanner beeped rapidly, reading impossible amounts of energy coming from below. Amara knew something major was happening beneath them, something that was not meant to be disturbed. As the drone hovered higher, its glowing symbols shifted into a pattern that looked like a warning code. Then it projected another brief hologram into the air. This time the image stayed longer. The team saw tall alien towers, huge machines inside a jungle much like Congo, and an enormous star map with Earth placed inside a red triangle marked with alien letters. Amara translated the symbols quickly using her device, and her eyes widened when the meaning appeared, "Protected zone, do not interfere." Her breath caught. Earth was supposed to be off-limits to someone, or something. But someone had broken that rule. The hologram faded, and the drone gave a long, sharp beep. From deep inside the forest came the sound of metal sliding against metal, like giant doors unlocking after centuries. The trees shook, several animals ran past the humans in fear, and a loud grinding noise filled the jungle. Amara turned toward the noise, her heart racing, and saw a faint line of blue light spreading between the trees, moving like a pulse. That light was coming from underground machines connected directly to the drone. Something else was waking. The drone suddenly shifted its attention toward the north side of the clearing, and for the first time, it spoke in a clear voice that almost sounded alive. "Warning, breach in protocol. Intruders detected." Malik looked around in confusion. "We are the intruders," he whispered. But the drone responded immediately, "Not you. Others." Cold fear washed over Amara. If the drone was not warning them about themselves, then who else was entering the jungle? Amara checked her tablet and noticed several small energy spikes moving across the jungle toward their location. They were not human. They were too fast, too coordinated, too precise. Then the earth shook violently again, and the drone's blue glow flashed bright white for a moment as if it were panicking. A deep voice echoed from underground, metallic and loud, speaking in a language none of them understood. Vines trembled. Birds jumped from trees. The air thickened with electricity. Amara shouted for her team to retreat deeper into the forest, away from the clearing, but before they could leave, the ground cracked open again, not beneath the drone this time but several meters away. A giant circular slab of metal pushed upward, covered in ancient runes and dirt. The slab opened like a hatch. Bright blue light poured out, and cold air rushed upward like the breath of a long-buried machine. Something massive was inside. Amara's fear grew stronger. Whatever was hidden in this jungle was not a single device. It was a whole complex, a whole alien facility buried beneath Earth. And now it was waking piece by piece. The drone lowered slightly and projected more symbols. Amara read them quickly. Guardian System Online. Vault Opening. Prepare for entry. The last line hit her hard. Someone or something was entering the vault, and the system was preparing for it. She did not know if entry meant the humans or the unknown intruders detected earlier. Malik moved toward the newly opened hatch carefully, pointing his flashlight into the glowing blue interior. He gasped. Inside he saw a long metallic tunnel stretching deep underground, its walls lined with strange organic cables and pulsing lights like veins. The tunnel felt alive. Amara felt a surge of dread. Humans should not go inside. This place was not designed for them. But before she could warn Malik to step back, the drone made a sharp alarm sound and shot upward, firing a beam of light into the sky. The beam expanded, forming a glowing dome around the clearing. It was a shield. The jungle outside the dome shook violently as if something large was moving through it. Tree branches snapped. Heavy footsteps approached. Something was definitely coming. The drone spoke again, its voice shaking. Unauthorized presence detected. Defense system activating. The blue dome brightened as the jungle outside erupted with metallic roars. Amara caught a glimpse of glowing red eyes moving between the shadows. Something non-human was breaking through the trees. Something that did not belong on Earth. Malik whispered, trembling, "Aliens, they're already here." The drone suddenly turned toward Amara. Its symbols flashed wildly. It spoke one final warning, its voice filled with urgency and fear. They broke the rules. "They are coming for the vault. You must leave. Now." As the ground shook harder and the sound of alien footsteps came closer and closer, Amara knew one thing with absolute certainty. Whatever was hidden in the Kongo jungle was far bigger than a secret base. It was the beginning of something much darker, and humanity had only seen the first warning. The ground kept shaking under Amara's boots as the alien footsteps outside the glowing dome grew louder, heavier, and closer, like something large was dragging metal across the earth while pushing through the dense trees with unstoppable force, and the team stood frozen, staring at the glowing hatch that had opened minutes earlier, unsure if they should run away or go inside. The air inside the dome felt hot now, charged with strange energy. Malik's scanner blinked bright red, showing numbers so high the device could barely read them. "This is not normal energy. This is something alive," he whispered, but before Amara could ask what he meant, the drone's alarm rose again, sharper and faster, like it was counting down. Suddenly a powerful pulse of blue light shot out of the underground tunnel, making the trees outside bend and the soil crack. The shield dome flickered for a second, and Amara felt her heart stop. If the dome broke, whatever was coming through the jungle would reach them in seconds. She turned toward the glowing tunnel inside the hatch, and for the first time, she noticed a massive shadow moving inside it, not a creature, but a structure, a giant machine waking up after centuries of sleep. The interior lights pulsed like a heartbeat, growing brighter with each pulse. Malik stared at it and whispered in fear, "It's a reactor, an alien reactor. It's powering up." The thought made Amara's skin crawl. If a reactor was turning on under the Kongo jungle, the amount of energy it could release might destroy everything for miles. The ground vibrated again, harder this time, and a low, humming roar came from deep underground, like a sleeping giant stretching for the first time in ages. Amara ordered the team to step back, but as they moved, the forest outside the dome erupted with sound. Trees breaking, branches flying, alien metal scraping against stone. The drone's voice cracked as if struggling. "Unauthorized presence detected. Vault in danger. Reactor waking." Suddenly, the shield dome collapsed with a loud electric snap. The air shook. The dome vanished. And the jungle's darkness rushed inward like a wave. From the trees, shapes emerged, tall, armored figures with glowing red eyes and sharp metallic limbs. They were not the creators of the drone. They were invaders. They moved with predatory confidence, scanning the area and looking directly at the open hatch. One of them let out a roar so deep it felt like a drum hitting inside the chest. These creatures were the others the drone warned about. But before they could attack, the ground beneath everyone's feet began to pull inward, like the jungle was breathing. The soil cracked open wider around the hatch, and the blue light turned blinding. Then came the sound. A rising, impossible sound, a perfect mechanical note that grew louder and louder until it filled the entire forest. This was the reactor truly waking. Amara's eyes widened as she felt waves of heat rolling upward from below. She looked into the tunnel and saw the massive core at the far end, an enormous sphere of silver metal covered in flowing symbols that shifted like living ink. Streams of energy moved across its surface like rivers. The sphere pulsed brighter and brighter, and every time it pulsed, the jungle above responded with shaking trees and cracking earth. This reactor was designed to affect the environment. It was draining energy from everything: plants, soil, air. Trees around them began to dry and crumble, their leaves turning black as if life was being pulled away. The invader creatures growled in confusion. They stepped back, unsure of what the reactor was doing. Amara realized what was happening. The reactor was not designed for destruction. It was designed for transformation. "It's terraforming," she whispered, her voice trembling. "It's changing Earth." Malik's face turned pale. "We need to shut it down." But they had no idea how to stop alien machinery. As the core pulsed again, a wave of blue energy rushed up the tunnel. One of the invader creatures was caught by the wave and thrown into a tree with brutal force. The creature roared in pain. The drone dropped lower and projected a new warning into the air: reactor at 20% activation. Full activation will reshape environment. Unauthorized users detected. Defense protocol engaged. Suddenly, small hovering devices shot out of vents inside the tunnel. More drones, but these were not like the messenger drone. These drones were sharp, fast, and weaponized. They swarmed upward in a cloud of silver and blue light, targeting the invader creatures. Energy blasts filled the air. The jungle lit up with flashes as the battle began. The invaders fought back, swinging their blades and firing red beams that burned holes in trees. The humans ducked behind rocks, trying to stay out of sight. The battle between alien machines and alien intruders turned the jungle into a war zone. Amara grabbed Malik's arm. "We can't stay here. The reactor is waking more defenses. If we're caught between them, we won't survive." Malik nodded, shaking. But before they could move, the ground gave one last enormous shake. The reactor core inside the tunnel expanded slightly, as if taking a deep breath. Then a deep booming sound echoed from the depths, repeating in slow patterns, like a heartbeat. It was alive. It was thinking. Amara felt something like pressure pushing against her mind, as if the reactor was scanning not just the jungle but also the humans. Suddenly, the core projected a faint hologram toward the surface. The image flickered, but Amara recognized it immediately, an ancient symbol that looked like a human hand. The reactor recognized them. Somehow, this alien machine knew they were human, and it was reacting to them. A strange fear and hope filled Amara at the same time. "This reactor, it's connected to us," she whispered. "It knows we're here." The core pulsed again, brighter than before. The battle around them became louder. The invader creatures pushed forward. The drones fired back. Trees collapsed. Energy scorched the air. And above all the chaos, the reactor kept waking, its power rising, its heartbeat growing stronger. Amara knew they had only minutes before the reactor reached a point of no return. The jungle was no longer silent. It was alive, angry, and awakening. And whatever the reactor was preparing to do, it was only the beginning. The sky above the Kongo jungle darkened as smoke, dust, and blue energy flickers rose from the ground, and while the alien reactor pulsed louder and brighter underground, Earth Command was already receiving emergency reports from satellites, drones, and military listening posts that something impossible was happening in Africa. Something that looked like a giant machine waking under the soil. Something releasing energy strong enough to interfere with radio signals across the continent. Commander Rafik Dar, leader of Earth's Rapid Response Force, stood in the command room staring at the satellite feed showing glowing blue cracks spreading through the jungle like lightning roots. His face tightened. "Deploy the team," he ordered. Within minutes, the world's fastest strike aircraft launched into the sky, heading straight for Kongo. On the ground, Amara and her team tried to escape the deadly battle between alien drones and the invading creatures, but the jungle had turned into chaos. Trees collapsed, roots twisted upward like snakes, and the air vibrated with energy beams flying in every direction. The invader creatures, tall and armored with glowing red eyes, pushed through the collapsing forest with purpose. They were hunting the reactor. They had come to steal it or destroy it, Amara did not know. The alien Guardian drones fought them fiercely, protecting the reactor with deadly precision. Amara knew the humans were trapped between two alien forces that did not care about their survival. The ground opened again, pulling in soil and dead leaves, and the reactor's blue glow grew even stronger. Malik shouted over the noise, "It's reaching 30% activation. If it reaches full activation, the jungle might completely change, maybe the whole region." Amara felt fear tightening in her chest. They needed help. They needed soldiers. They needed humanity to answer this threat. Suddenly, the sky ripped open with the sound of roaring engines. Earth fighter jets screamed over the treetops, firing bright flares to mark their entry. Amara looked up in shock and relief as sleek black aircraft circled the jungle. One jet fired a guided sonic pulse that pushed back the alien attackers temporarily. Another released a swarm of micro-drones to scan the battlefield. A military helicopter landed nearby in a clearing, and Earth soldiers in black armor rushed toward Amara, their rifles glowing with blue EMP rounds designed for disabling technology. Commander Rafik stepped out of the helicopter himself, tall and calm, with sharp eyes that took in the chaos with cold focus. "Dr. Amara, report," he demanded over the noise. Amara shouted back, "There's an alien reactor under the ground. It's waking up fast, it's terraforming the jungle, and those creatures are trying to reach it." Rafik nodded once, already switching to battle mode. "Then we stop them." The soldiers spread out, forming defensive positions. EMP grenades flew through the air, exploding with blue flashes that disrupted the invader creatures' armor and slowed their movements. Earth drones shot down from the sky, targeting glowing red weaknesses on the creatures' bodies. But the invaders were strong, much stronger than anything humanity had fought before. One creature grabbed an Earth soldier and threw him across the clearing like he weighed nothing. Another slashed through a drone with a single swipe of its blade. Commander Rafik fired his heavy rifle, hitting one creature in the chest with multiple EMP rounds, making it stumble but not fall. "They're resistant," he shouted. The jungle shook again as the reactor pulsed at 40%. Blue energy crawled across tree roots and flowed up thick trunks like water. Plants turned metallic. Leaves sparkled with alien light. Earth Command received the readings instantly. This was not simple energy. This was a transformation of the environment. The reactor was rewriting the jungle to something else, something alien. Rafik knew they had limited time. "We need to reach that reactor," he yelled. "If it fully activates, we might lose the entire Kongo region." Amara nodded. "There's a tunnel inside the hatch. But it's guarded. And those invaders want it too." Rafik signaled his team. "Alpha Squad, with me. Beta Squad, repel hostiles. Delta Squad, secure the scientists." The soldiers moved like a machine, organized, fast, fearless. They pushed toward the open hatch where the blue light shone upward, cutting through the dust-filled air. But before they could reach it, the ground exploded beside them. A massive invader creature burst through the smoke, roaring so loudly the air shook. It was larger than the others, wearing thicker armor with glowing red veins across its body. Its eyes locked onto the hatch. It wanted the reactor. Rafik raised his gun and shouted, "Everyone fire!" A storm of bullets, EMP blasts, and drone lasers hit the creature, but it barely slowed. It swung its massive arm, sending 3 soldiers flying. It stomped forward, cracking the ground under its weight. Amara felt terror grip her. If this creature reached the reactor, the consequences could be catastrophic. Suddenly the Guardian drone, the same one that first warned them, shot between the humans and the giant creature. Its symbols glowed bright gold this time. It released a thunderous sonic blast that pushed the giant invader back several steps. Amara stared in shock. The drone was protecting them. The drone turned its glowing eye toward the humans and spoke in its broken metallic voice, "You are authorized, humans, protect the vault." Then it turned and fired a bright beam directly at the giant invader, starting a duel of beams and energy that lit up the jungle like a storm. Rafik used the distraction to pull Amara toward the hatch. "We're going down," he said. "Whatever this reactor is, we need to control it." Amara nodded, knowing this was the only way. As they moved toward the tunnel, she felt the reactor pulse again, this time stronger, almost like it sensed them coming. Malik shouted from behind, "It's at 50% now." The battle roared above them, Earth soldiers, alien invaders, and Guardian drones all fighting for control of the jungle. And deep below, the ancient machine that had slept for centuries was awakening, and choosing sides. The night came slow over the Kongo jungle, but even in the darkness something heavy was moving under the trees. Captain Amina and her team stayed close to the crashed alien pod, flashlights pointed in every direction. The air felt thick, as if the jungle itself was trying to warn them. For hours they watched strange lights blink far inside the deep forest. No sound of birds. No sound of insects. No wind. Only the feeling that something ancient had opened its eyes. When midnight came, Sergeant Malik felt a cold wave cross his back. He whispered, "Something is out there," and everyone felt the same pressure in their bones. The scientists studied the alien metal pieces they recovered earlier. They said the readings were changing. Something underground was responding to the alien signal. Something big. Something old. Amina ordered her team to move in a wide circle around the pod, checking every shadow. But when they reached the western side, they found the trees pushed down in a strange pattern, as if a giant creature had moved through them without making a sound. The branches were not broken. They were sliced clean, like a blade of pure light had passed through. Malik looked at the marks closely and said, "This is not the alien's weapon. This is something else." Back at the camp, Dr. Lena uploaded the new signal data. The signal was no longer coming only from the alien pod. It was now answering something below the earth. A structure. A living structure. Something buried for centuries. And the aliens had awakened it. This realization hit the team hard. The silence of the jungle was not only because of the aliens. It was because something more dangerous had woken up. Suddenly, the ground shook. A low rumble rolled under their feet like a sleeping giant turning in its bed. Birds exploded into the sky, breaking the silence for the first time in days. The team dropped to the ground, aiming their rifles at the dark tree line. The rumble grew louder. The earth cracked near the roots of old trees. Then came the sound, deep, slow breathing, echoing from underground. Amina whispered, "Fall back. Move now." But before they could regroup, a bright green light shot up from the ground like a pillar. The beam pierced the sky. Every tree around it bent back as if pushed by a massive force. The alien pod reacted instantly. The symbols on its surface glowed, and the entire object floated off the ground, spinning slowly. The beam connected with it, and for a moment the jungle looked like day. The ground opened. Something began to rise. The soldiers watched, frozen by fear and awe, as a massive stone-like creature pulled itself from the earth. Its body was covered in plates that looked like old carvings, glowing with green lines. Its eyes were huge circles of white light. It stood taller than any tree in the area. A guardian. A protector. A monster built centuries ago but asleep until the aliens triggered it. Dr. Lena shouted, "This creature, it's not alive the way we understand. It's part machine, part biology, part energy. It was designed for something." The creature turned its head, and for the first time its gaze landed on the human soldiers. The ground shook with every movement. Amina lifted her rifle, even though she knew bullets would do nothing. The creature made a sound, a deep, echoing roar that made every leaf vibrate. Then it turned its head toward the alien ship crash site, as if following orders only it could hear. A beam of light shot from its eyes, cutting through the forest, melting stone and soil. The soldiers hit the ground. Trees fell in long burning lines. The machine creature was searching for something. Amina yelled, "Everyone fall back now. Move to Zone 6. But the creature moved faster than they expected. With long heavy steps, it crushed the ground, breaking roots and ancient rocks. The pod glowed brighter and brighter, as if sending commands. Dr. Lena realized something terrifying. It's waking more guardians. As if her words were a curse, 3 more green lights appeared deep in the jungle, shooting up like spears of fire. More roars echoed from beneath the earth. Amina knew the truth now. The aliens did not come to explore the jungle. They came to break the rules. They came to unlock something dangerous, something older than any human civilization. And if the Guardians were rising again, then these forests were never silent. They were watching, waiting. The alien pod vibrated violently, then exploded into a cloud of green sparks. The huge creature roared again and began walking north, following the trail of something unseen. Malik ran next to Amina and shouted, "Captain, what do we do now?" Amina looked at the burning jungle, the rising lights, and the awakening monsters. She whispered, "We survive. And we warn the world." But deep inside she knew, whatever the aliens started, the humans were now part of it. And the Guardians were not going back to sleep. Not until their mission was complete. The Kongo jungle shook under the heavy steps of the giant Guardian as it moved deeper into the night, leaving a burning trail behind it. Captain Amina and her team ran through the jungle, trying to stay ahead of the destruction. The air was full of dust, ash, and strange green sparks that fell from the Guardian's glowing body. Every few seconds, the ground rumbled like distant thunder. Sergeant Malik kept looking back, trying to locate the creature, but in the darkness its huge shape was only a moving shadow with glowing white eyes. Dr. Lena ran beside Amina, holding her scanning device tight. It kept beeping, showing a rising energy level underground. Lena whispered, "More Guardians are waking up." The aliens activated a network. Amina felt a cold fear in her chest. This was no normal mission. They were running through a battlefield created by forces older than human history. She shouted to her team, "Stay close. Move toward the river. We need water between us and that thing." The team sprinted through the thick jungle until they reached the riverbank. The water was dark, moving slowly under the moonlight. For a moment, everything was quiet. Too quiet. A strange fog gathered over the river, glowing faintly with green light. Malik pointed at it and said, "That fog is not normal." Before anyone could reply, the river began to boil. Huge bubbles rose to the surface. And then something massive moved beneath the water. A large shape slowly rose, covered in stone plates like the Guardian on land. Another one. A river Guardian. The team froze as its glowing eyes opened underwater like 2 silent lanterns. Amina whispered, "We need to leave. Now." The creature rose higher, sending waves crashing across the riverbank. Water washed over the soldiers' boots. The monster's body looked like a mix of old statues and living coral. It lifted a heavy arm from the water, creating a wall of spray. Amina and her team ran as the Guardians smashed the riverbank behind them. Trees fell instantly, and water exploded into the air. The shock wave threw Malik to the ground, but Amina grabbed him before he could slide into the river. Another roar burst from the monster, vibrating through the trees for miles. Dr. Lena's scanner beeped faster and faster. She looked terrified. "Captain, the Guardians are not hunting us. They are hunting something the aliens left behind. Something important." Amina asked, "What thing?" Lena took a shaky breath. "A power core. A small one. But if the Guardians reach it, they will activate fully." The realization felt like a punch. The aliens didn't just wake the Guardians. They gave them a mission. Amina shouted, "Move. We have to get to the core before they do." The soldiers ran deeper into the jungle. The ground behind them exploded as the River Guardian dragged itself onto land. Its body glowed brighter with each step, and the humid air turned misty around it. The jungle animals finally broke their silence. Birds screamed and flew in panic. Monkeys howled from treetops. Even the insects returned, buzzing in a chaotic storm. The jungle was alive again, but not in a good way. It was reacting to danger. The team reached a rocky hill covered in vines. Amina ordered them to climb. At the top, they could see the destruction spreading across the jungle. Green lights flashed in different locations. At least 3 Guardians were now awake. Their roars echoed like ancient drums. Dr. Lena pointed to a glowing spot on her device. The alien core is moving. Something is carrying it. Malik narrowed his eyes. Not humans. Not guardians. Something else. Amina said, "We stay ahead of them. We find it first." They climbed down the hill and moved north. For hours they walked and ran through dense vegetation, jumping over fallen trees and avoiding glowing cracks in the ground. The earth felt alive under their boots. Sometimes they heard deep breathing underground. Sometimes they saw shadows shift among the trees without any wind. The jungle was becoming strange, reacting to the alien energy like it remembered old commands. When dawn finally came, thin sunlight filtered through the leaves, giving them a moment of relief. But the peace didn't last. A loud metallic sound echoed through the jungle, sharp, mechanical, alien. The team crouched low. The sound came again, and this time it was closer. Amina signaled silence. From behind a cluster of trees, a small alien drone floated out. Its body was oval-shaped, covered in blue lights and sharp rotating blades. It scanned the area, searching for something. Probably the core. Amina aimed her rifle, but Dr. Lena grabbed her arm and whispered, "If you shoot, more will come." The drone moved slowly, passing right above them, scanning the ground with a blue beam. The team held their breath. After a tense moment, the drone flew away, heading toward the deeper jungle. Malik whispered, "So aliens are still watching. They didn't just crash here." Amina nodded. "They are guiding the guardians." Suddenly, a loud rumble came from the west. Trees shook violently. The land guardian was coming. Its heavy steps made the hill vibrate like an earthquake. Amina shouted, "Move now." They sprinted through the trees as the guardian's glowing eyes lit up the forest behind them. The machine creature stopped, turned its head, and unleashed a beam of green fire that melted trees in seconds. Amina and her team dove behind a boulder as the heat washed over them. Lena shouted, "If it finds the core first, it will activate the entire network." Amina looked at her team, mud covering their uniforms, fear in their eyes. She said, "Then we stop it. Whatever it takes." For a moment, they all understood the weight of the mission. They were not just soldiers anymore. They were the last line before something ancient and unstoppable awakened fully. The hunt had begun, and humanity had only one chance to survive it. The morning sun tried to break through the thick jungle canopy, but the green glow from the Guardians made everything look darker and older, like the world had gone back in time. Captain Amina led her team through a narrow path packed with vines and twisted roots. Every step felt heavy, every sound too loud. The alien Guardians were moving fast, and the alien core they were hunting was somewhere ahead. Dr. Lena kept staring at her scanner, her hands shaking slightly as the device showed energy spikes that were rising too quickly. She whispered, "It's changing direction again. Something is carrying it. And whatever it is, it's moving fast." Amina clenched her jaw. "Then we move faster." The ground beneath them vibrated again, but this time it was weaker, like something far away, but awake. Malik listened carefully and said, "Captain, I don't think this is just the Guardians. I think something else woke up." Amina didn't reply, but she felt it too. The silence between the trees was wrong. The jungle smelled like old dust and burned metal, as if the past was breathing through the cracks of the earth. They reached a clearing covered in tall grass. The air felt cold, almost frozen, even though the day was warm. A strange stone stood in the middle of the clearing, covered in carvings no human had ever seen. Dr. Lena's eyes widened. "This is not alien. This is older. Much older." Amina approached the stone slowly. It hummed faintly, giving off a small pulse every few seconds like a heartbeat. Suddenly the grass around the stone bent as if pushed down by invisible hands. Malik stepped back. "Something is here. Something we cannot see." Before anyone could react, a blur of movement shot past them, so fast the air cracked like a whip. The tall grass split in a perfect line. Amina raised her rifle, scanning the area. "Eyes up. Something's hunting too." The invisible creature struck again, this time slicing through a small tree which fell in silence. Dr. Lena's voice trembled. It's reacting to the core's energy. It wants it too. A new roar echoed across the jungle, deep, metallic, and furious. The land guardian was coming. The invisible creature roared back, a strange sound that shook the clearing. The two forces were getting closer to each other, and the humans were stuck in the middle. Amina shouted, "Move! Now!" They sprinted out of the clearing, diving into thick vegetation as the ground behind them exploded. The guardian burst through the trees, its massive stone body glowing brighter than before. It fired a green beam, but this time something hit it back. A spark of invisible energy struck its chest, making the guardian stumble for the first time. The invisible creature became partly visible, a shifting outline of something with 4 legs, tall and muscular, its skin bending light like water. Malik whispered, "A jungle predator, but evolved by the alien energy. Or maybe it was always here." The two giants clashed. The guardian slammed its heavy arm down, cracking the earth, but the invisible creature dodged and struck with incredible speed. Energy sparks flew like fireflies in a storm. Amina didn't wait to see who won. Go. The core must be close. They raced through the jungle until the sound of the battle faded behind them. Dr. Lena pointed to a hill where the scanner showed a massive spike. It's there. Inside the hill. They climbed quickly, grabbing roots and rocks. At the top, they found a large cave entrance glowing faintly with the same green light as the Guardians. The air coming out of it felt hot and alive, like breath from a giant mouth. Amina ordered the team to turn on thermal scopes. Inside the cave, strange symbols glowed on the walls. The ground was smooth as if carved by machines long ago. Deep inside the cave, a floating object flickered with blue light, the alien core. It was small, the size of a backpack, but the energy inside it felt powerful enough to shake mountains. Malik whispered, "So small, but so dangerous." Dr. Lena stepped forward slowly. "This core is not just power. It's a command key. The Guardians are following its signal. If they get it, they will unlock whatever is buried deeper under the jungle. Something designed to protect or destroy everything." Amina looked around. The cave trembled slightly. A low rumble echoed through the walls. "We take it," she said. "We shut it down." But as Lena reached for the core, the blue light turned red for a split second. The cave walls lit up with moving symbols. Something ancient had noticed them. Amina shouted, "Lena, don't touch." Too late. The core released a shock wave of energy that threw the entire team against the walls. Rocks fell from the ceiling. Dust filled the air. The scanner shattered. The core floated higher, glowing violently. Amina forced herself up, ears ringing, and saw Lena lying on the ground, barely conscious. Malik grabbed Amina's arm and pointed to the cave entrance. "Captain, we are not alone." The land guardian stood at the entrance, blocking the exit completely. Its glowing eyes fixed on the core, ignoring the humans. Behind it, faint roars echoed from the jungle. More guardians were coming. And above, something invisible sniffed the air and growled. They were trapped. The core pulsed again, louder this time, like a countdown. Amina realized the truth. The jungle's silence was not just broken. The jungle was awakening for war. The cave trembled with every pulse of the alien core as Captain Amina dragged herself up, helping Dr. Lena and Sergeant Malik to their feet, the green and blue light casting long, jagged shadows against the walls. The air was thick with dust and electricity. Every step forward felt like walking through a storm of invisible energy. The core floated in the center of the cave, spinning slowly, humming a sound that resonated deep inside their bones. It was alive. Amina studied it carefully. "This is the heart of the jungle," she whispered. "Not just the core. Everything below us runs from this." Malik looked at the walls, noticing the strange carvings glowing brighter with each pulse. "These symbols, they aren't alien. They're older. Much older." Lena nodded weakly. "The aliens didn't create this. They only activated it. This core, it's part of the jungle's defense system." Amina swallowed hard, realizing they had stumbled into something far beyond human understanding. Suddenly the cave shook violently. Dust and rocks rained from the ceiling. A deep rumble echoed through the jungle above. The guardians were coming closer. The land guardian at the entrance stomped the ground, cracking rocks, while faint roars from unseen creatures sounded in the distance. Amina motioned for the team to move deeper into the cave. "We need to secure the core before it reacts fully to the guardians," she said. Lena crawled forward carefully, scanning the energy levels on her device. The readings were off the charts. "It's adapting," she warned. "Every pulse of the core strengthens the guardians. If it reaches full power, it will awaken the entire network under the jungle." Malik's hands trembled as he scanned the cave walls. "Captain, the symbols are changing. They're forming patterns. Coordinates, maybe. It's showing something. Something beneath the hill, massive." Amina's eyes narrowed. "Then we go there. That's where it all started. That's where it ends." The team moved carefully, dodging falling debris and streams of energy that arced across the walls. Each pulse from the core made the floor vibrate like it was alive, and the cave seemed to stretch further than its walls suggested. They finally reached a wide chamber, hollow and carved perfectly smooth, glowing faintly from the energy of the core. And there, suspended in mid-air, the alien core pulsed violently. Its glow shifted from blue to green, then red, as if it were communicating or reacting to something. Lena held out her scanner. "It's reading us. It knows we're here. And it's responding." Amina stepped closer cautiously, her rifle ready, though bullets meant nothing against this energy. The core suddenly released a pulse that knocked everyone back. Dust filled the air, making the cave hard to see. Malik coughed, shielding his face. When the dust settled, Amina noticed the cave walls were alive with moving patterns, lines of green energy tracing the path of ancient tunnels that spread below the jungle. "This is bigger than we thought," she muttered. "Much bigger." Suddenly, the ground shook again. The land guardian at the entrance slammed into the wall of the chamber, cracking stone and sending rocks flying. Behind it, the unseen creatures were approaching, their roars echoing like a chorus of thunder. The guardians were converging on the core, guided by its energy, and something in the shadows was hunting it as well. Amina realized they were trapped between the core, the guardians, and the invisible predators. Lena tapped her scanner frantically. "It's reacting to the predators. The core is trying to defend itself, but if it doesn't stabilize, it will destroy everything in this chamber, and us." A bright flash erupted from the core, blinding the humans temporarily. When their vision cleared, they saw something incredible. Energy tendrils extending from the core, moving like snakes toward the cave walls. The walls themselves began to hum and glow. "The chamber was alive," Malik shouted. "It's creating defenses. Look." The tendrils lashed outward, forming barriers and shields. Rocks lifted from the floor, floating like they were weightless. The guardians outside slammed against the barriers, roaring and striking with massive arms, but the core's energy held them back. Amina's mind raced. "We need to stabilize it. We need to control it, or the jungle, and everything else, will be destroyed." Lena shook her head. "I don't know if we can. The energy is too old, too advanced. It's not just technology. It's alive. Thinks. It reacts." A distant rumble echoed as another guardian approached. This one was larger, its body covered in jagged stone and glowing veins, moving faster than any of the others. The invisible predator followed silently, weaving between trees and shadows. The core pulsed again, stronger this time, the chamber vibrating with its heartbeat. Amina looked at her team, determination in her eyes. "We've come this far. We survive this, or we die trying. Stick to me. We stabilize it, or humanity loses this jungle forever." Lena nodded and began calibrating her device to interface with the core. Malik kept watch, rifle raised, scanning the cave entrance for the guardian. The tension was unbearable. The core pulsed once more, and the cave exploded in green light. Energy tendrils shot outward, forming a protective web, shielding the humans from the crushing force outside. The guardians slammed into it again, roaring with fury. The invisible predator circled above, waiting. Amina felt her heart pounding. This was the moment where everything would change. The jungle, the core, the guardians, and perhaps humanity itself. And in that heartbeat of light and power, she realized that nothing would ever be the same again. The jungle was alive, awake, and it was judging them all. The jungle trembled like never before as Captain Amina, Dr. Lena, and Sergeant Malik struggled to maintain their balance inside the glowing chamber, the alien core spinning violently above them, pulsing with energy so strong it made the walls hum and vibrate under their feet. The tendrils of green and blue energy stretched from the core to the cave walls, creating a living web of power that seemed to watch, feel, and judge them. Outside, the ground shook with heavy stomps. The land guardians had multiplied. At least 5 massive forms could be seen through the shattered cave entrance, glowing veins running across their stone-like bodies. They roared in unison, a sound so deep and primal it felt like it shook the very jungle. The invisible predator moved silently among them, weaving in and out of the trees, striking fear into the hearts of anyone who saw its faint outline. Lena kept tapping on her scanner, her hands shaking. "Captain, the core is reacting to everything now. It's not just defending itself. It's awakening the full network under the jungle. If the Guardians reach it, the energy could trigger a chain reaction. Every Guardian, every structure, everything alive or buried could be affected." Malik swallowed hard. "So, if we fail, it's not just this jungle. It's bigger. Much bigger." Amina gritted her teeth. "Then we succeed. That's the only option." The chamber trembled again as the core pulsed, stronger this time, sending shock waves through the floor. Rocks and debris floated in the energy field around it, spinning slowly, defying gravity. Amina could feel the vibrations in her chest. The Guardians slammed against the barriers created by the core's energy tendrils, their massive arms shattering stone and soil, but the core held firm. From above, the invisible predator struck a Guardian, hitting a weak point that made it stagger, but the others pressed on relentlessly. The jungle outside roared as if it were alive, echoing the chaos inside the chamber. Lena adjusted her device, trying to interface with the core. "It's responding. Slowly, but it's listening," she shouted. Malik covered her back, firing at any Guardians that managed to breach the energy field. The tendrils wrapped around intruders, pushing them back. Energy sparks flew like lightning bolts, hitting tree trunks, rocks, and metal fragments in the cave. Amina moved toward the core cautiously, scanning for any sudden movements. "We have to stabilize it before it reaches full power," she yelled. Lena nodded. "I'm trying. The network is resisting. It doesn't trust humans." Another massive pulse from the core sent everyone crashing into the cave walls. Dust filled the air, making it hard to see. The Guardians' roars grew louder. Their glowing eyes scanned for the core relentlessly, guided by its energy, and the invisible predator circled above, striking occasionally, leaving deep gashes in stone and earth. Amina helped Lena back up. "We hold this position. We stop them here." Lena adjusted her device again. The energy field around the core flickered, almost dying, then pulsed back with redoubled force. The Guardians slammed against it repeatedly, each strike sending shock waves through the chamber. The invisible predator roared and struck, but the energy tendrils absorbed or deflected the blows. The chamber itself began to expand, walls stretching outward as if alive, responding to the energy inside. Malik shouted, "Captain, more Guardians are coming. From the west. They're moving faster." Amina looked at the cave entrance. Through the haze, she could see shadows moving, at least 3 more massive forms advancing. The core pulsed again, brighter than ever, creating a protective dome around the humans. Energy waves lashed out, throwing debris and Guardians back. The invisible predator screamed in frustration. Lena's hands flew over her device. "It's stabilizing. The core is learning to control the Guardians. But it's still dangerous. If it loses control..." She didn't finish. Everyone understood. If the core lost control, it would unleash the full power of the jungle's ancient network. A pulse like that came. Rocks, dust, and glowing energy flew in all directions. The chamber walls vibrated violently. The guardians roared in unison, pounding the energy shield, while the invisible predator moved with terrifying speed, trying to reach the core. Amina grabbed Lena and dragged her back. "Hold on. Don't let it reach you." Energy tendrils shot out, striking the predator, forcing it back momentarily. The guardians continued their assault, striking with immense force, but the core pulsed again, stronger, holding them at bay. Malik fired at the few guardians that breached the tendrils, but it was useless. The pulse of the core threw him backward, scraping him across the cave floor. Amina helped him up. She knew that only one chance remained. They had to synchronize Lena's device with the core perfectly. Lena focused, sweat dripping from her face, hands shaking. "I can do it. I have to do it." The chamber pulsed again, brighter than ever. The guardians slammed against the energy barrier for the last time, shaking the ground violently. The invisible predator circled above, preparing for a final strike. Lena shouted, "Now!" Amina pressed her hand against the device, sending a synchronized pulse into the core. The core flared with a blinding light, pulsing through the cave, down into the jungle, and far into the earth. The guardians froze mid-step. Their glowing veins flickered. The invisible predator shrieked, caught in the energy pulse, unable to move. Slowly, the pulse spread, stabilizing the core, aligning the energy tendrils, calming the guardians. The jungle grew quiet again, but different this time. The silence was alive, but controlled. The core pulsed calmly, glowing softly blue, the energy field gently holding the guardians in place. Amina, Lena, and Malik collapsed to the ground, exhausted, listening to the slow, measured hum of the stabilized core. The guardians had awakened fully, but now they were controlled, disciplined, and aware. The invisible predator vanished into the shadows, defeated for the moment. The jungle remained awake, alive, and dangerous, but humanity had survived the first trial. For now. The jungle was silent in a new way as Captain Amina, Dr. Lena, and Sergeant Malik caught their breath near the stabilized alien core, the green and blue energy now pulsing gently like a heartbeat rather than a storm. Outside, the guardians had returned to their positions, massive stone-like figures standing still, their glowing veins now calm but alert, like ancient sentinels awaiting orders. The invisible predator had vanished into the shadows, leaving the humans alone with the core and the knowledge that danger had not disappeared, only been contained. Amina looked around, her uniform torn and muddy, her hands shaking slightly from exhaustion. "We did it," she whispered, though the sound felt strange in the eerie calm. Lena shook her head. "Not completely. The core is awake, and it's alive. It will always be aware of intruders, and if anyone tries to misuse it, the jungle will defend itself, and humanity might not survive that time." Malik sighed, still catching his breath. "So, we just survived the first attack. The guardians are awake. The core is aware. And the aliens could come back any time." Amina nodded, feeling the weight of their mission pressing down. She approached the floating core cautiously. Its soft glow reflected on her tired face. "We need to leave instructions, somehow. If the core is alive, maybe it can learn. Maybe it can protect us too." Lena nodded, activating her device again, carefully interfacing with the core's energy. Sparks flew gently as the connection formed. Symbols appeared in the air, forming a map of tunnels and guardians' positions, along with instructions, an ancient warning from whoever had built this network centuries ago. Amina read the patterns, her heart racing. "It's showing us safe paths and areas to avoid. It wants to survive, and it wants the jungle to survive too. It recognizes us as allies." Malik exhaled slowly. "So we're partners with the jungle now, not just visitors." Lena smiled weakly. "It's more than that. It's choosing who can be trusted. Humans survived its awakening, and it knows it." The ground shook suddenly, making the team stumble. A faint rumble echoed through the cave and beyond. Amina's eyes narrowed. "That's a warning pulse. Something is moving outside. The invisible predator could be back. Or worse, another alien force is approaching." She raised her rifle and motioned for the team to follow. Carefully, They moved through the cave, staying close to the floating core. The guardians outside didn't attack. Instead, they moved slowly to flank the humans, protecting the core and guiding them to a tunnel that led out of the hill. The forest above was damaged but still alive. Trees leaned over paths, leaves scorched or metallic from the core's energy pulses. Birds cautiously returned, and insects buzzed softly. The jungle was healing, slowly, and it hummed with a presence that humans could feel but not fully understand. As they emerged from the tunnel, the sunlight hit their faces. For a moment, the world felt ordinary again, but Amina knew it wasn't. This jungle, the core, and the guardians were now part of Earth's secret defenses, ancient and alive. Malik looked around at the scorched land, broken trees, and distant glowing hills. "We've changed something here forever," he said quietly. Amina placed her hand on his shoulder. "We survived because we acted together. Humans, guardians, and maybe even the jungle itself. But the battle isn't over. The aliens will try again. And other predators may awaken." Lena looked back at the hill, where the core floated above the cave entrance, glowing softly. "We have a chance now. The core is stable, and the guardians are disciplined. We can prevent destruction, but it will require humans to understand the jungle's rules." Amina took a deep breath. "Then we learn. We survive. And we prepare. Whatever comes next, humanity will face it. We can't destroy this jungle, and we can't control it fully, but we can protect it, just like it protects itself." The wind picked up, rustling the damaged leaves. The jungle seemed to breathe, alive, watching them leave, acknowledging their victory and their respect. From the distance, faint green lights pulsed through the trees, guardian movements, checking the area, ensuring no threat remained. The invisible predator had disappeared, but its presence lingered in the shadows. Amina led the team down a path toward civilization, her steps steady, though her mind raced with thoughts of what they had survived, what they had learned, and what dangers still waited. Behind them, the hill with the core shimmered softly, alive and aware, and the jungle hummed with an energy older than humanity itself. Birds sang cautiously, insects buzzed in small numbers, and the forest slowly returned to life. The team reached a ridge overlooking the wide Kongo Valley. From there, they could see the full extent of the damage and the calm after the storm. The core's glow was faint now, pulsing slowly like a heartbeat in the distance. Amina turned to her team. "We've won today. The jungle, the core, the guardians, they survived. Humanity survived. But this is just the beginning. We need to be ready. The jungle is alive, and it's watching. Always watching." Malik nodded, and Lena smiled faintly. Together, they descended toward the nearest human outpost, leaving the glowing hill and the guardians behind. The jungle's silence returned, but it was different now. Watchful, alert, alive, and impossible to ignore. Humanity had faced the ancient guardians and survived. The Kongo jungle had awakened, and the balance between humans, the jungle, and the alien forces had begun. Somewhere deep below, the alien core pulsed quietly, its energy now steady, waiting, knowing, alive. And as the team disappeared into the distant horizon, the jungle whispered a warning to anyone who might dare enter unprepared. It was alive, it remembered, and it would not be broken again.